Ladies and gentlemen, we're live, Canoga Park, California, 4 o'clock p.m. in like 36 seconds. Not too late today. May 4th, 2LaneLIVE headquarters. I might have said that. This episode is brought to you by Eagle Rider Motorcycle Rentals and Tours. Don't forget to check out 2LaneLIVE.com and go to the Eagle Rider tab to see how you can save a little bit of coin and go on a cool trip at the same time. By the way, before we get into it, updating people on what's going on, who do we have in the house today?
Who are we going to have in the house?
Who are we going to have in the house?
We are going to have Rae Ripple, a really awesome lady that rides, stunt rider, builder, fabricator, storyteller, book writer. I mean, fantastic.
She ripples.
She rips. She rips
ripples.
The ripple.
I like the story.
We've had some really cool women on this channel. Letitia Klein, Sapasu.
The list goes on.
The list goes on, and it's really incredible how some of these ladies kick butt in this industry and make stuff happen. And we're always stoked about that.
And don't take no shit.
Right. Definitely they don't take any shit. That's why they're where they're at.
Well, I just think the movements, just continues to grow.
Yeah.
Joyce, the lady biker bitch, rolled by, and
her actual name.
She was on her way to a camp out down in Arizona featuring all female. So it's kind of cool to see the cause and the movement. We just love people that get out on the road,
right,
and enjoy. Speaking of that, our drop yesterday went pretty well, huh?
Yes, that's episode 2 of our Kernville run. Poppies, Kernville, river, water, greenery.
Yeah, it was great, and it was nice just to at least get out on the weekend and take the ladies out and go check it out. The water was amazing.
So go back and check that out. But I'll tell you what, is it next week going to be our daughter's trip?
Yeah. So next week is episode 1 of the father-daughter ride. It's coming along. I'm getting there. It's looking pretty good though. It's a good story.
We took our girls up to Cambria, Hearst Castle. It was really great to have them on our bikes and the things that they noticed and the senses and how they love traveling on a motorcycle. And they're really good sports. And hey.
And, if you're wondering, yes, Howdy Doody is in the house.
Howdy Doody.
Howdy Doody. Well,
I heard you telling.
It might look like a Howdy Doody, but the back of it, I will show you.
I heard you telling
Taylor. Bud.
Harley Davidson.
Yes. But I would rather show them.
2LaneLIVE. Yes.
Come on.
That
right on.
Yeah. That's great.
So I don't think we should wait. I just want you to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Tell your friends. There's a lot of great stuff coming. The rest of our year is so booked solid with some great trips, great times, and we're going to be shaking hands with America. But I don't want to hold off our guest because I'm excited about her. So, hey, without any further ado, Rae Ripple.
You didn't even let me get the intro going, but we'll let her do that. Without further ado, Rae Ripple in the house.
Yes.
Hello, Rae.
She is.
How are y'all?
Good. How you doing?
I'm doing good. It's crazy around here, Every time Born Free posts like, oh, it's like 50 days till Born Free. I'm like, stop telling me that.
How many days till?
50.
Oh, I don't even know. I don't want to know. We're just too quick. It's too quick.
So, I mean, you got a big thing going with Born Free. You're building a bike. You're working with Dickies. You work with Harley. You have a son.
I have 2 kids. Well, they're not really kids anymore. I have a 19-year-old daughter named Chloe, and then my son is 14. He also rides. He just inherited my Sportster, and he stunt rides too. So he's
boy,
wow,
he's learning.
So, are you dealing with Grant Peterson?
With Harley?
With Born Free?
Oh, no, I'm dealing with Brian. Brian is who my main point of contact has been.
Yeah, Grant's been on the show before. We may have him again before the Born Free, but I think those are the 2 guys that, really formed it, started it. and have grown it. And now they're doing the one in Texas as well. Pretty crazy.
Yeah, I went last year. It was wild. It was actually, there's a funny story. I drop my bike a lot, always coming to either a stop or like, you know, because they're big and I'm just little, you know.
Right.
So the El Diablo, I rode it to Born Free last year, and we were down in the grass bowl, you know. It was like right in front of the Steve Speaking's booth, and like everybody was like all around. Well, it was so late, everybody had left, and I was like, all right, it's time to go, everybody's gotta go. So we get ready to leave, we go down the grass bowl, there's nobody down there, and there's like a pile of sand that's like in front of my front tire. Whenever I pulled up and parked, I was like, all right, I gotta tell myself, instead of trying to ride over it whenever I leave here, I should back out. No, I was just in a rush, went to go forward, the whole front end sank, and the handlebars just went whoop like that and laid it over. And then I went to try to pick it up because I drop my Sportster all the time. I went to try to pick it up, and like I could not pick it up. And then so somebody had to help me pick it up. And it's a brand new, if anybody knows anything about the El Diablo, it's a brand new motorcycle. They only made 1,500 of them.
Yep.
It's kind of a limited edition thing, and I just like turned it into this stunt bike. It's kind of funny. But so I dropped it, right? And then I thought I was just gonna get out of it. Nobody saw it, right? Oh, hell no. I went to go over the same piece of sand, like pile of sand with a back tire, dropped it again. And then everybody, you just see all these dudes just running down this hill to this grass pit because they thought somebody was still in a bike, and it's just little old Rae dropped the bike again. Yeah, it was pretty funny. So Born Free was a hoot last year. I cannot wait to go this year.
Well, I loved when they came out with that El Diablo. That's such a beautiful bike. They knocked it out of the park there.
Oh yeah, I'm in a love affair with it. I actually saw it in York, Pennsylvania at the York operations plant way before they released it. And
wow.
I went on a tour, and they had it in this big open room with like this glass wall, and it looked like all these like scientists were just standing around it. And I remember walking past it, and I was like doing the whole like take pictures with your brain, you know, like
right,
just because I wanted to just have this motorcycle burned in my brain. And then they dropped it on my birthday, so it was just like I had to have it.
I did see on one of the pictures you sent that was in the thumbnail, you played a role in something that was going on with that Fast Johnny drop.
Yeah, okay. I got to be like the crew chief of Fast Eddie, which was pretty cool. I took off a spark plug 20,000 times just so they can film me wrenching on it. You know, it didn't run. It was just like a whole thing. It was pretty cool.
Awesome. That sounds awesome. Now I have seen you standing up on your seat with the bike rolling down the road there. That's scary.
No, not at all.
She's just surfing.
Yeah, surfing the bike.
You know, honestly, like motorcycles and me have a really weird relationship because I'm new to the industry. I'm new to riding. Like I've only been riding for 3 or 4 years. Like, I mean, I've rode bikes, you know, of course, but like really diving deep into the Harley world and the motorcycle world like 3 or 4 years ago. And it was like I got into it for all the wrong reasons. And I think it was like more of a mental health aspect of getting into it. I kind of, you know, they're dangerous and all of the things. That's why I got into it. And then I just kind of found like myself and my niche and like, you know, all these things I'd been missing in my life for so long. I like found it in a motorcycle. And then of course, when you ride with donkeys, you have to become a donkey. And so like I ride with all these stunt guys. And if I don't ride like them, then I just get left behind. Now, granted, there's a lot of times I opt out on things because they are a little on the far-fetched side. But like, I don't know. There's just something so powerful about being in a position of something so dangerous and just letting go, you know? And I don't know. It's just I think it's a childhood trauma mostly.
Well, I mean, we've had, you know, people on the show talking about PTSD and all this other, and, you know, it's not just military folks and the the throttle therapy, the wind therapy that you get when you're on the bike. It's like no other. I mean, my daughter, we were talking about that earlier, that we did the little ride with them. She's been on the back of like 4x4 or four-wheelers. She's been on side by side. She's driven them. But for her, she got just lost in the beauty, the smell, the grandeur on the back of the bike. And she had not been on a ride that long with me on the touring bike. And so to watch her and Lance's daughter, and to see a newbie that's actually a passenger, they're not riding, but to soak it all in and then really think about the conversations they were having and how cool they thought it was and how relaxing they were. They weren't, how relaxing it was. They weren't really thinking about a lot of issues that come up in everyday life. She has 2 grandkids, or 2 kids that she's thinking about, his daughter. My daughter has a new dog and all this other stuff. And they didn't even think about that stuff. They just released and relaxed. And it's pretty cool to hear that, you know?
Yeah, it's just like it quiets like all those voices in your head that just sometimes are so loud all the time. And like I can just get on a motorcycle and it's just like, it's crazy. And I don't mean to be vulgar here, but it's really wild how if you deal with suicide and you deal with depression and you deal with anxiety and all these different things, which we all do, everybody does. It's a very real thing. And it's just crazy how like you be here and you're present and you get that, you know, that feeling of wanting to die comes over you, but it goes away when you're on a motorcycle.
Motorcycles have changed all of our lives, and everyone I know that's on one, it's just such a great thing. I mean, it really is. It's a whole world, and it's all evolved around motorcycles. For me, my friends, what we do, people we meet, it's just, there's such a great hub, this motorcycle vibe for this stuff. But I was going to say with stunting, we've been on the way to Sturgis with my son and Sea Bear, and we could be in a canyon. Yeah, and they'll be doing, well, Sea Bear does like a burnout for miles, and we're in the middle of nowhere along a river going, if you pop your tire, we're done. Yeah. You know, we're nowhere. Funny stuff.
It's wild. It's wild. No, motorcycles are just great, though. I mean, like, that's why I got my son involved into them. Like, my daughter's not really into it yet, but she's also like, she may look just like me, but complete opposite of me, you know, type thing. I don't know. It's weird how I honestly shouldn't even be here. I don't even know, you know, it's just like, I kind of fell into all these things by like accident, by grand design of making a lot of bad choices and the right ones. And it just kind of put me in this position. And now I'm just here.
We call it fate.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, you know, for us, we started this really to inspire people to get out and ride, because our families hear these incredible stories when we come back out off of these rides about the small towns and the people we met, and just the interesting stories that they all tell. And so that was our goal. And then it's just flipped on us. You know, we've said this 100 times that now we're getting inspired because we're seeing first-time riders. We're seeing people get together with their father, seeing their daughters get on bikes. So it's just completely blossomed. It makes us want to even showcase more. And then we've had a store, 2LaneLIVE.com, for 3 years. And every year we've continued to grow, and it's the community that's supporting that. And we want to thank them for that, because it's helping us with our wind therapy, but it's also helping us, you know, be able to produce content and go out and do these trips.
The memories. Oh my, it's the memories. Like, I sit in these circles with like all these riders that have been riding for years, and they have all these amazing memories of like, oh, I remember when my dad did this and he was wrenching on that. And I remember, you know, crashing. I remember riding, you know, the bike here or there or whatever, all these memories. And like, I don't really have those memories with my parents, because I don't really have any parents, but it's just cool because now I sit back and I listen to my kids tell stories to their friends, or, you know, things like that. And it's like, remember that one time when mom was da-da-da-da? Oh my God, I remember when mom stood on her Harley for the first time and Chloe, like, she freaked out, like literally freaked out. And like these stories, it's just so cool because now they get to grow up for the same love of motorcycles of like how y'all grew up, and like, you know, those kinds of things. It's just cool to be able to hear those stories come out of them, even though I don't have them, but I have great ones now. But you know, they get to experience that. It's just crazy, all these new generation. Like I see these young little tiny babies on like their dad's tanks and they're drifting in circles, and like these kids are gonna remember this forever. Like like there's so many other things kids could be doing. And you know, even just to being a mom and a female and stunt riding and being on motorcycles, I get a lot of hate because they're like, oh, don't you have kids at home? But like, my kids are seeing me do badass shit, and then they're gonna go out and do badass shit, and so
not be
are these
afraid of
young
it.
girls. Yeah, it's just, it's so cool. It's really, I'm just honored to be here in this community with all these amazing people and get to see these newer generations come up in it. It's really cool.
It definitely is good. Now, you stunt, you fabricate, you do all this cool stuff. Have you been on long journeys?
Yes. Okay, so that's kind of why I bought a new motorcycle in the first place. Because so one of the companies I'm sponsored by, FastCut CNC, it's a CNC table. Me and Rhea the welder and Russ from FastCut, we went on this like whole Canada tour. We rode all through BC and Alberta and came back. And it was the first time I had been on some like a serious long haul besides like just riding in towns in Texas or like places around Texas or whatever. Oh my gosh, we rode through wildfires, snow, rain. It was like the first time I really got exposed to the elements of riding outside, like when it's raining and snowing and cold, and mosquitoes are literally the size of a house, you know, things like that. And like it was such a cool experience. I think we did like 2,000-mile days and like back to back. I mean, it was exhausting. I also like, of course, drop everything and then overfill gas tanks, and like, you know, and there's bears everywhere, and like goats don't look like goats, you know. I have all of that, you know.
That's so awesome.
Yeah.
And you know, we always say if you don't go, you won't know. I mean, because we go no matter what, even if there's going to be bad weather, because some of the best things happen when the weather is funky.
Moments. It's crazy. It is so not, and it's too, it kind of like, I know a lot of new riders too, because I experience a lot of that, but like going on long trips and just trusting yourself, trusting your bike, and just being open-minded to just being around, you know, around your elements and on the road, and just, you know, trusting your skill set. There's a lot that goes into getting into these long rides, because you'll have to always be ready to adapt.
Yes.
Yeah, we say that a lot. So let's back up a little bit and talk a little bit about, you say you're newer to the scene. I know you're an author, right?
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about that book. And I didn't get a chance to read it, but is it When We Grow Up?
Yeah, When I Grow Up.
When I Grow Up?
Yeah, so you ready? This is a long story. And I'm a talker, so basically I visit all these schools all over the country, and I always visit the older kids, like the high school kids and the college kids and like young adults. You know, I never really get to visit like the littles, but
right.
The littles really do pay attention, which also put me in a position that I have to be responsible with what I post and how I handle myself. I mean, I can still be me, I can still do whatever, but like there's a lot of young minds watching me that I didn't know was, and comes by just checking my mail, and a little girl named Olivia, who was 9 years old, made me a flower that she welded in her dad's shop. It now sits in my sunroom, along with 2-3 other flowers and other things that these kids have built. And I kind of always wanted to do something for the littles anyways, and there was this girl. Oh my Lord. Okay, so every Sunday I work a lot, and so I've decided to step back, and I'm going to start taking days off to like enjoy life and the fruits of my labor and how hard I've worked to get here. And so on Sundays are dedicated to motorcycles when the weather is good. And so we'll go eat breakfast at a local restaurant here in town, And then we'll just be gone all day, stop off in like a freshwater tank in the oil field, go swimming in it for a little bit, you know, come back home. It's just an all day, like just riding thing. And before we started our day, we went to this little restaurant called Estella's here in town and ate our breakfast, went to go check out. And there's this little girl and she was sitting behind the counter. Cause like the restaurant is like a family owned restaurant. Like there's like the grandparents cook in the kitchen. Like the daughter and the husband like run the restaurant inside, and then like all the little cousins are the bus boys. Like it's literally a homegrown restaurant. And so
we like those.
Yeah,
I do too. They're the best. And so this little girl is like, she's sitting behind the counter and she's like watching her iPad, and she has her little sister with her. And I was trying to make conversation. I was like, what are you watching? And she's like, oh, I'm watching Frozen. I was like, oh, I haven't seen that, you know, like my kids are older, but I heard it's a great movie. And then her little sister outs her and is like, she watches it all the time, like on repeat. And we kind of laugh about it for a minute. And then like, we're almost done checking out, and she kind of puts her head down and she goes back to watching her iPad. And she just stops in her track and she just looks up at me and she says, I'm really shy, but I'm a really big fan of yours. And I was like, of me? And she was like, yeah. I was like, you know who I am? And she's like, yeah, I live down the street from you. And I was like, you live down the street from me? And she was like, yeah, I've been watching you build sculptures in your driveway for the last few years. And I was just like, okay, like I need you to be my best friend first off. And so I like, after that moment, like everything new that I put out, before I even released it to the world, I would take it to her. You know what I mean? Like just so that way she got to watch me grow into who I am right now. Cause the house that I lived in was this like tiny 2-bedroom, 600 square foot house. I slept on the couch. Like I didn't even have a room in this house, but I had a small shop and my sculptures kept getting bigger and bigger. So I'd start building in the driveway. And so she watched me from the very beginning. And so like, I felt like I owed it to her to give her the very beginning of the things that I was doing. So after that, I was like, it's time to write a children's book. But also I'm super dyslexic and not very like English oriented, you know, I kind of make up my own words and stuff. And
I love it.
So I was just like, all right, I'm just going to try it. And so like my son is homeschooled, and me and his English teacher hit it off really good. And so I wrote it and sent it to her, and she is such an angel on earth, just kind of proofread it for me. And she's like, Rae, honey, you wrote half of this in past tense and half of it in present tense, and you can't do that. And like, let's change these words here. And you misspelled this. And I'm like, I know, go figure. And then like, you know, those kinds of things. And so after it was done, now all was left was illustrations, right? So when you do check out the book, like I put a lot of research into the illustrations, because kids sometimes can get lost in them versus, you know, capturing the story. And I wanted to make it very simple for them. And plus kids draw in books. So I kind of wanted to give them their own little canvas that felt like a book that they could draw in, and only keeping the main characters in color. So that way they would pay attention to the characters and the story, you know. And it's real, honestly, I didn't think it would do well. Because you don't really write books and they do good. You have to write 10 books before you get that one good book, you know. And I just got blessed somewhere in the universe, and you know, the kids responded and they liked it. And I don't know, it's just cool. I want to come out with like a whole line of them now.
Well, you got blessed in the universe because you are like this ball of energy, positive energy. So
well, so I saw in your link tree, they can see the book there. It's at Amazon as well.
Yeah, so you can actually buy it anywhere. You can get it on Walmart, you can get it on Target, Amazon, you can even buy it overseas, or you can just message me and I'll send you a copy.
So go out and get her book, everybody.
Yeah.
Was there a stick figure on the front?
So it's inside. So like the mom is a stick figure, and gotcha. Me and the main character are not stick figures. We're like pictures, but like kind of turned into little cartoonish a little bit, if that makes sense.
I'm going to have to pick it up and read it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Definitely.
it's super cute. It's super cute. And I named it after Olivia, the little girl that sent me the flower. And it's cool. There's a cool little story attached to that too, because my homies were at the PRI show, and he texted me and he was like, "Hey, I have a little fan here that knows you." And I was like, "Oh yeah." And he sends me this picture, and it's Olivia, and she was wearing my Rae Ripple hat. It was so cute. The kids, man. I love the kids. They're my favorite.
That's awesome.
So I saw you go out and do speaking engagements to elementary schools and stuff, right?
Yeah, all ages now. It's like I kind of like base it off of, obviously I'm not going to talk to the littles about my life because it's very graphic, but like I kind of had a different upbringing than most people, and it kind of led me to a lot of different places where I have a lot of different chapters that young girls that come out of situations that I've come out of become products of our environment. And that's kind of what I did. Like I was a teen runaway, I was homeless, and then I got pregnant at 17. I had my daughter at 18. I became the stripper. I got out of it. I like fought and clawed my way to being a tow truck driver. And then I left tow industry to the fire service. And then I quit the fire service to do art full time, and now I'm doing all these other things full time. And so I just basically kind of talk to them about like, there's light at the end of the tunnel. And because a lot of these kids that come out of situations like I do, they don't make it. And I'm here to like, even if the whole world is against you and you don't have a single person on your side, that all you need is yourself, and that you can literally make anything happen, make all your dreams come true. You just got to fight for it. And if they learn that now, then they can accomplish anything way before.
And you're proof of that.
Yeah, it's an amazing story. Awesome.
That's actually gives me goosebumps and makes me want to cry a little bit. So, because I don't think we pay attention as much to the youth, especially nowadays. I mean, they get so locked up into the computers and the phones, and we lost her.
I think your phone.
There
fell.
She goes.
We're good.
You're
there
back.
She is. No sound.
What
there you are.
Now?
We got you.
Okay, sorry. Somebody just tried to call me. They're gonna have to wait. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
So I just commend you for, because that takes time out of your day, and not a lot of people want to give their time. And I think it's great. We did a lot of, when I was in the financial services business, we did a lot of financial literacy training to the underserved, and the kids are just sponges, and when you talk about what you can do and how you can earn, and they're not often talked to about that much. And to hear you talk about kind of your story and share that with them, I'm sure you've touched so many young kids. It's amazing.
Well, I think it's just more or less like I do it for selfish reasons, because like I just feel like that I've made a lot of mistakes in my life. I've done a lot of really bad things, and I'm trying to like make up for those bad things, and I have this responsibility, and I owe it to the kids that are like me, that don't have a fighting chance, and they deserve to know that they have a fighting chance. And 100%. Also too, I'm not going to be able to create metal art for the rest of my life. Like my hands are going to give out eventually one day, and my body will too, because it's very hard. It's a very hard trade on your body. And so I got to leave something for, these kids, so that way I can have little branches of Rae everywhere, and they're going to be the next metal artists and fabricators and motorcycle builders and published authors and speakers of that generation. And I don't.
But it's amazing. It's amazing to think that you were in the position of, you needed that fighting chance, but you created it, and every door you opened to right now, you've created this whole world that you're busier than you can even imagine.
It's, and I don't even know how. Like, I wish I could narrow it down. Like how, like I was just talking to my daughter about this the other day, like how, like there's so many stories that we just talk about and it just doesn't even seem like they're real, but it like happened. It like really happened. Cause like, how is it that like I become a college dropout to being a waitress to driving a tow truck to, you know, being a firefighter to leaving the fire service to do this full time? And I found welding just literally 9 years ago. Like,
well, you
19
never
years ago.
quit. You never
No,
quit at any direction you aimed at. That's
It's
how
just
you did it.
wild. It's just wild. It's wild.
Yeah.
It's wild. It's a wild ride.
Well, it reminds me some of the art. I saw the car that you had done, and my dad used to be a welder, and not by profession, but you know, it reminded me some of the cuts that I was looking at you making in that car and the design and the artistry of it. It just reminded me of him with his acetylene torch and making these cool little configurations out of iron, and it's admirable to see, you know, your art as well.
Well, is your art drivable or is it art that's not drivable?
Well, that car,
Some is.
yeah, some of it is. So Philistine, which is a 1940 Chevy Stylemaster, 4-door. It's owned. So I don't own any of them except for Rose, which is the truck, and it doesn't run and drive. I thought about road killing it and put like a gas tank in the bed, you know, type thing. But I really don't know what I want to do with it yet. But Philistine runs and drives. She's bagged. She sits on like fat white walls, like red rims. She's got the cherry red interior, and like she sits like ass nasty on the ground, and she sounds so mean. Oh, but like she's got open headers on her, so like. She just rumbles, but I did get a lot of questions answered that I get asked all the time. Does it whistle? Like, I bet it's AC. Oh no, it is hotter in that car than it is outside the car. All the heat just comes inside and just hangs out with you in the cab. And so like we did this like art car parade and I was sweating so bad inside. I like had just a piece of cardboard just like trying not to die, like because it was just so hot. And then you step outside and it's 100 degrees outside and it feels cooler outside than it does in it's crazy. So that is the thing.
That's that weird phenomenon. I mean, it could be 110 outside. You go, I'm going to ride my Harley with shorts on. You're actually hotter. You're better off with a pair of jeans. So it's got that. Yeah.
I wondered about the heat because I looked at one of your clips with it, and I think you were kind of hanging out the side of the passenger side, and I could hear the motor on. And I know when you take all that insulation and everything out of it, you're just getting the direct heat.
It was nuts. It was nuts. It was like my whole backside was just wet. Like it was just, I was sweating, and like the interior is not in it yet. So it has the original seat in it, but the cover is missing. So we just threw this like blanket, like one of the fuzzy blankets over it and sat on it. So like you were sweating and it was just like all this metal is just like sticking to you. It was a great experience though.
Sounds
really
like
cool.
it.
Wow.
Cool.
So talk to us about your art and what your inspiration is there. And, you know, I've seen signs to lobster tails to all different, you've got armadillos. I mean, what do you got going?
Well, they're all commissions. It's all like things that people just come to me and like, hey, I have this idea. And it's really cool because like my art's shifting now. Like it used to be people came to me with an idea and this is what they wanted and I would build that. But like this year has been like, hey, I want you to build something, but I want it to be what you want to build. And I'm like, I'm finally like there. Like I get to build the things I want to build. So it's like, that's why it's so vastly different, you know, but my heart's in all of it. It's in the armadillos. It's in the lobster tails. It's in the giant bunnies. It's in all of it.
Nice.
I also saw you were holding a baby armadillo. Can you do that?
Yes. Oh my God.
I didn't know you could do that.
Excited. I'm so excited that you brought it up because I've been dying to tell a story. So I went to a girl camp out, like a chick camp out this weekend. It's called Ride Wild. And it was like absolutely amazing. It's just a small camp out with probably like, I think there was like maybe 30, 40 of us type thing. And I didn't ride. I brought rows and signed books and stuff like that. But so all the ladies took off to go ride into town to go eat lunch. And so we just kind of followed behind in the vehicle. And there was this baby armadillo just in the middle of the road. So we busted a bitch. I ran after the armadillo, and like while I was trying to catch it, I was yelling at my friend. I was like, "Is it gonna bite me? Is it gonna bite me? I just want to know if it's gonna bite me." And she's like, die-hard country girl. She just picks that armadillo up with her bare hands, like nothing. She was like, "No, it's not." And she like cups it. It's like casing, and it kind of just like melted in your hand, you know. And I was like, oh my god, I just want to take it home. And then everybody started talking about leprosy, and got scared, and then I put it down. But I like let it go. But I did hold it for like a good 22 minutes.
Really?
So wait, why are you saying are you allowed to hold them? Is there like a law protecting them?
They're very rampant with disease.
Oh,
yeah,
leprosy.
That's why leprosy. No, in the state of Texas, it's basically our state bird.
Yeah.
So like everybody, it's just an armadillo is like a Texas thing, and so I don't care. I'll catch leprosy. Let me hold you one time. I just want to, give me all of you. I wanted to take it home, but then it's illegal because it's like a state mammal or something. So.
Yeah, I thought
should
it
have
might
taken
bite
home.
you.
No, it did. It like whimpered. It was like it didn't like make any kind of. It had no aggression, not even a slight little bit. It just whimpered. Like it was really cool.
And what was the texture? The feel? It has a shell, obviously.
It feels like a roly poly.
Okay.
Oh, gotcha.
You know, you remember the little roly? I haven't seen one of those in years. I'm sure.
I saw one yesterday. We still have those around.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. That's cool.
We'll send one to you.
Yes, please do. Yeah, that's what it feels like. It feels like the shell of the roly-poly, the bug. But it like has like a little more of a texture, I think.
Interesting.
Well, we have a buddy that welds an 805 Elite with Max, and he made us a coat rack, helmet rack. I'm looking at it right now. We may have to commission you to do a 2LaneLIVE.
Whenever you're ready. Whenever you're ready.
So Lance reached out to you 4 months ago?
Yeah, something like that.
And said, hey, would you like to be on our live? And I mean, we're thrilled that you are, but why the hell would you want to be on our live with two old guys?
I don't know. I had some
life.
time, you know. I had some time today. You know, I was bored. I took the day off. You know. Just felt like, I don't know, maybe y'all can give me some insight and knowledge I could just absorb and put into this, you know.
Yeah.
That Thrash and Supply is doing the other bike. So I'm here really just to kind of get back in information, you know. I'm here for ulterior motives because I'm going to win. I don't even know what we're winning. I don't even know if we do win, but I'm winning.
Yeah, I don't know what the deal is. And I don't even know how many bikes are going to be there. I know that you're going to be there and Lance is going to be there. That's all I know.
The Sosas, they're doing a bike. They got the Nicer, and it's his daughter. It's him and his daughter. She's 15. I'm super pumped to meet them, you know, because me and the kids. She's redoing this bike for Born Free. Like they're doing it together.
Nice.
But so they got the Nicer, and I think didn't FXR division get a Pan Am?
Maybe.
I think they did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they got a Pan Am, and I heard that they were putting like an ST front end on it. I don't know. That's just what I heard through the grapevine. You know?
What are you working on?
Well,
you don't have to give it all.
I will gladly tell you.
Well, she has a road glide.
Yeah, so I have the road glide. I got the road glide special, but when they asked me to do it, I was like, are y'all sure you don't call the right person? Like, y'all know I'm not a builder, right? And so they're like, yeah, that's why. We're just going to see what you do with it type thing, right? And so I actually was going to kind of hop on the performance bagger trend. And I was talking to a homie, and he was like, you know what, Rae? I don't think you should do that. I think you should just stay outside the box. And I was like, all right, I'm going to do that. So I was like, what better way to start off strong by cutting it up? And so that's kind of what I started off doing. So I think initially the whole idea behind it is there's a guy that's here in town. He's an old Harley legend. His name is Buddy. And me and his wife were very close. We lost her to cancer a couple of months ago. But that's where I was sandblasting the head whenever I talked to you on the phone yesterday. That's where I was at. So we were just looking through these. He collects everything, and it's like, especially in the motorcycle world, and it's so cool because he's got all these amazing things. Like, he just brought out this stack of like Easy Rider magazine back when they still had like, you know, boobs on every single page with motorcycles, you know. And I'm just scrolling through all these motorcycles and just trying to find inspiration. And I was like, I got it. Like, this is Harley's 120th, right? So why not take it back to the art of the motorcycle versus performance? You know, sorry, I have moths and bugs in here, but versus performance, but kind of, you know, bring a Rusto mod feel to it. And since I already deal with so many Rusto mods as it is with cutting up vehicles, it's kind of the route I decided to go, which is both of the fenders, I laced them out. They're both Clockworks fenders. The console's laced out. I hand cut the tank emblems, Harley tank emblems, to be welded directly to the side of the tank. It's going to have this beautiful patinaed paint job because I already do that already. And so I chopped the bags. I got rid of the strut, you know, the struts, and like built my own like bag mount. Like, so that way it like cleans up the whole like accent in the motorcycle. Brought it up. I got rid of the like special bags because I'm not a big fan of like that like drawn out long bag. So I had some extra Road Glide bags that were laying around. So I chopped those and then put those on the bike. So it kind of brings it up a little bit. It's going to have SMT wheels on it that are going to be machined raw. And of course, all these other amazing parts, but the motor, right, which has been, I don't know, probably one of the worst decisions I've ever made in my life. Sandblasting a motor has not been like fun at all. Like, I tried aircraft remover. Anyways, basically, it's going to have a blonde M8 in it. And if anybody knows anything about Harleys and knows anything about motors, I know some people are like, what's a blonde? Well, if you know motors, twin cams and down, they have the machined, you know, raw motors where they didn't have any paint on them. The Dyna that we have is a raw motor. And so that kind of is what inspired it. And I did a lot of research because I'm a research gal, you know. I have not seen, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but I have not seen a blonde M8 yet. I did see a polished cover of some sort, but I have not seen a blonde, like a fully raw M8, like it just came straight from casting and put together as a motor.
I don't think it's out there.
I don't know of one.
Well, your girl's about to have one.
I mean, I can't wait to see it. After the artwork that I've seen how you cut things up, I can't wait to see the lacing and all that.
Well, even like it's still in pieces, as you can tell. Like this, all of it is everywhere. How many days do I have? Anyway.
So you're working every day on it?
Yes, every single day I'm working on it. But the frame too is like a lot different than what most people are used to. Also, I stripped the frame and the swing arm, and it looks like it was dipped in the ocean. Like, it's just complete patina, and it has like the patina texture, but it's paint patina because I don't want to lose any integrity in the frame because it is a big motorcycle. So the whole thing is like this beautiful rust color, and then so there's going to be like some hints, you know, within the whole motorcycle that are going to be patina too, to kind of match the frame. But it's definitely going to be a very, very vastly different motorcycle than I think anybody has seen in a while.
100%. I can tell already.
Now, is that going to go to the 120th as well?
Yeah, so it'll leave straight from California, and Harley's taking it straight to the 120th, which I'll be at, so I'll be there. So
we're going to get to meet you in person at both places.
Warren Free first.
Yeah, so we won't be internet homies anymore. We'll be
exactly. We'll be the real deal.
Yes. So yeah, it'll sit up there for a while, and then it'll come home, and then I'll probably tinker with it some more before Born Free, Texas. Oh, it's gonna have the seat too. Oh my God, the seat. I got this incredible woman that does like embroidery, like badass seats. Like, she's like a total just badass. She's doing this like really beautiful sunshine yellow solo seat. Cause you know, like resto mods have like the really bright interiors, but also Deb, you know, Buddy's wife, her favorite color was yellow. So I'm trying to incorporate her into the motorcycle because she's literally who I inspire to be like in the motorcycle industry. Like all the stories and all the wild shit she's done on motorcycles. I want that life, you know? And so why not bring her in on it? And plus, you know, Buddy has been such a great helping hand. Everybody in the industry, honestly, like the amount of support that I've received on this motorcycle and this build has been like, I absolutely incredible. Like the companies, like all my homies, like just dove right in, was like, don't worry, we got you. We're gonna literally get you through this whole process. And like every single one of them has answered every single one of my phone calls, my texts. How do you do this? The YouTube videos, like the amount of information that's out there. I just want everybody to know, if you've never built a motorcycle before, you can literally do it. Because if I can do it, anybody can do it. You know what I mean? And so like Ryan Cruzy's always putting out good content, and like all these big names in the industry with YouTube channels of Thrash and Supply. Like, you know, I've been keeping up with them and their YouTube videos. And like, so I watch all these guys build, and I just kind of follow their lead a little bit.
And then you put your own twist to it.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's just so much knowledge and information out there. I love the industry.
But I love the story of the bike, that you've taken a modern bike and you've gone back and looked at history and Easy Rider and taken someone that's known about Harleys for their entire life, and then adding the wife to it and putting a touch on. I mean, that's just, the bike is going to have not just a cool look, but it's got a great story behind it.
Yeah, it's just, well, and too, I felt like there's so many underground women that are builders right now, and I'm not a builder. And so I feel like I owe it to all these incredible women that are in the industry that have been taking apart motorcycles and wrenching on them and putting them back together. I felt like I owed it to them to bring it completely all the way to the very like starting point of putting together a motorcycle. So that way, I mean, I got to earn the card. Like I can't just bolt on some parts and throw a paint job on it. And I'm painting it myself. Like I'm literally doing everything myself. Like,
now I've been watching your Instagram, and you've had that thing down to a frame, and I'm like, all the piles of the bolts and the parts and everything laying around. I'm like looking at it going, I change my oil and I go ride.
Oh yeah, look. I mean, look at all these tables. Like they're just full of parts. Like everything's just like in Ziploc baggies, of course, all labeled.
Right. That's good. That's a good thing.
Yeah. No,
So,
it's cool though. I have learned a lot about motorcycles and correct terminology too. Like speaking on like what the real names of the parts are versus making up my own words for them.
Well, that's a good thing, because we always tell people, we have a few oil change videos and maintenance stuff, and it's like, do your bolts, take your bike, wash it, get to know it a little bit, even from that simple of an aspect.
Oh yeah, I have this whole saying when somebody comes to me and like, oh man, I want to learn how to ride. Are you scared? Do you ever, you know, whatever? Do you ever get scared of crashing? I'm like, no, I crash all the time. Like it's great. Like, but no, like it's kind of like, I kind of describe it like a first date. Like you go on a date with a woman, you have to like go on a couple of dates before you get warmed up to like what the motorcycle is doing, because you got to learn the motorcycle and how it responds to you, just like you have to learn yourself and how you respond to a motorcycle. Because I learned that all very early on. I was very confident and kind of cocky a little bit whenever I first started riding, and it humbled me real quick with my first motorcycle accident. And thank God it wasn't anything bad. I just literally couldn't reach my back brake and had to mash the front brake because, you know, your girl's got little legs. So I crashed, and I literally rode it home with the handlebar bent in. Like I was just like, this is like, it humbles you real quick. And so you just kind of, it's like a first date, you know, you don't gotta rush it. Just learn her and let her learn you, or learn him and let him learn you. And that's kind of how I describe it. And that's like the best way to just do it.
That's good.
Well, my first dates, I couldn't get them off of me. So I was like full throttle. Like, what are we doing?
I'm a little weird, so I never really have that problem. They usually just don't call back.
That's funny.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
I mean, you know, that's just me,
Sorry.
I guess.
This build you're making, this piece of art, this bike, are you going to be riding this thing? Are you going to put it up for show?
Yeah, I'm gonna ride the fuck out of this motorcycle.
Right on.
Yeah,
we need to do a trip. We need to do a 2LaneLIVE trip, and you need to ride with us with that bike.
Yeah, I'm down. Like everything I have, I 100% full send in riding. Like if you don't have bikes to not ride them, you know. And of course, I think somebody was asking me if I was going to like raffle it off or something after I was done. No, I'm going to give it to my son. So it'll go to him.
Awesome.
Yeah,
I like
so he'll
it.
get it. Yeah, he'll get it. Not for a little while, but he'll get it.
I was drinking this 11.7% beer Jack's dad gave me. My mind was wandering. We're talking about cutting. Is the frame of the Road Glide going to be cut any which way?
No. Okay.
I'm just curious.
Also, people were asking about the tank. You know, I think honestly, I kind of am waiting for Born Free to invite me as a builder, so maybe I can build a chopper, and then from there we're gonna have the cut up tank and like the cut up frame and like cut up stuff. You know, that's where I think that belongs. Like, I feel like it's just the wrong motorcycle to do that to, like, because I still want it to be functional, but I still also, like, when you walk up to it, like, initially, I'm kind of even though I don't really know, obviously y'all probably know a whole lot about motorcycles more than I do, but I do know whenever I walk up to a motorcycle, like, I examine every square inch of it. And that's kind of like what I'm hoping is going to happen with this. You're going to walk up, and the first thing you're going to notice is, what's up with the motor? Why does the motor look like that? And then you go into the motor and you start seeing all these little accents and these little things that I did within it. And then you notice the fenders are cut. And then you notice the side covers are cut. And then you notice that it's got this badass patina paint job. And then you see the console, and you just see all these little aspects that are very subtle and clean and classy, but keeping it like a rideable, functionable motorcycle that you can take out of town and you can still, all of that. I wanted it to still have that, like, if I wanted to ride it from here to California, I can.
I'm stoked to see it. I mean, last year, I think for both Live Fast and Born Free, we just went for fun. Not that it's not fun otherwise, but we didn't plan on filming. So this year we're going to go film. We're going to capture the human story from people like you and the builds behind that story, all that good stuff. So looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm super pumped. I'm really excited to meet everybody. And it's kind of cool to be on that lineup, with all these like big names in the industry. And like, I don't know, it's just, what am I doing here? I don't even know why I'm here.
Having fun.
Yeah, I know. It's cool. It's really cool.
Well, I think it's also a testament to Harley and the way they're thinking about things, right? Like, they started changing the designs of the bikes this year, and last year on the STs they went away from this traditional bagger front fender that has been almost the same ever since day one, and they've changed it up. And that a year ago they introduced used motorcycle program, trying to get more riders to ride and more affordability to people, and now to get some of you guys that are out there in the industry that are showcasing art and different things to bring a little different flavor to it. And same with Lance. I mean, he's built a couple things like Mama Tried, or they did some build or something out there one year, right?
Oh yeah, he did.
A couple of years ago.
He was with the dealership and they built.
A couple bikes. But I think it's a testament to try to bring that cool factor back in and get people out on the road and get on these bikes. And I'd say what you're going to say about I'd say what you're going to say about the new designs or whatever, but they launched 5 new bikes yesterday. I mean, it's just crazy.
I mean, back
and
to
they're
Go ahead.
listening to their customer base, I think, is what it is. And like they're actually like listening and responding, and like they even like down to their apparel, like they're listening and responding. And I've noticed that a really like a big shift in the industry. Also too, with getting the people that actually ride and that are in the industry, like the faces, the community, and they're getting them involved versus like hiring, you know, paid actors or whatever. Like I see so many familiar faces in these commercials and the things that they're running in their ads now. And it's just so cool to see. I mean, even me, like I get to be a part of it. Like that's just like, it's crazy. And it's so cool that it's just bringing us all closer.
Well,
you know, I think
people respond to it. I mean, when Galen and I did the launch of the new 120 edition bikes,
I know those things are sick.
So people were like, "Hey, these guys are real riders." So exactly what you're saying. Mm-hmm. And Harley said, "We want to have guys that actually ride, see the bikes, and get their expression and what they thought." And so it's cool. They are listening to the community.
I love that. I love that. They've just been great. They like, I mean, just that I bought the LD because I just wanted a new motorcycle because I got spoiled by ABS in Canada. And so I just, you know, and it was made for me. Harley's not going to say that, but you know, they launched it on my birthday. It was made for me. So we'll just go for that.
Right.
Well, I actually, Matt Swedlin called and wanted to know what day your birthday was. And we told him. And so they built the El Diablo for you.
I know. I see. And I tell people that and they're like, nah, bullshit. I'm like,
no, you got it firsthand. We validate that.
Yeah. It's super funny. Yeah, it's nice. It's such a nice ride though, too. I don't know. I love motorcycles, any kind.
Definitely a good bike.
Yeah, for sure.
You mentioned your story. What do you think over the last, 10 years you're kind of super proud of?
Oh man, what a crazy question.
I mean, is the book something you'd be?
No, honestly, like these are all the things that I accomplished. They're great, but I think my biggest accomplishment in the last 10 years is learning how to live versus just surviving. I think that is, that's a really big deal, I think, for me, because there's been a lot of times where, you know, you just want to give up and quit. And like, I didn't. And I really, honestly, it's something as simple as a knock at the door that changes everything, which is kind of crazy. But I think that's the biggest thing for me, is because, you know, I'm not supposed to be here. I'm not supposed to be talking to you guys. I'm not supposed to be building this motorcycle. I'm not supposed to be writing books and speaking to schools and like doing all the things that I'm doing. Like I had a whole other destiny in life and I'm not living that. And that is the biggest accomplishment I could ever give. Like for my kids, for the future generations that come out of me and move into the future, you know, like my grandkids and great grandkids, like breaking the cycle and starting a whole new chapter of comfort and life for my family has been everything.
So how did you break that cycle?
You just don't give up, and you also take charge of your own life. Like you can sit back. I mean, people I say get lost in the system. We get lost in, you know, who that destiny, what we're supposed to be, right? What was laid out in front of us, which mine was supposed to be some sort of drug addict like my parents, or a prostitute, because that's what my mom told me to do, was to prostitute myself. Like I could be in and out of jail. I could not have the life that I have, but I made a conscious choice because I had kids that I wanted them to have a better life, not for myself, but for them. I wanted them to have a better life. And it just kind of rolled over it into my life is good too. It's not just about making a better life for them. It's also for myself. And because I deserve to live and not have to carry the responsibility of what other people have done to me. which I carry in trauma. And so letting that go and learning how to live life versus surviving is what's breaking the cycle. There is no right or wrong way to break it. There's no magic trick. There's not even a book. There's nothing. It's just taking control of your own life and writing your own future. That is how you break the cycle, but also recognizing your trauma and how it triggers you into toxic traits, into projecting it on other people, which causes them trauma. And if you work on yourself and your inner healing and breaking the things that people have done to you, you heal, and then you don't project that on other people, and then you start breaking the cycle.
But you have this inner energy. You have this, for some reason, you were able to figure out, I'm not going to give up and I'm going to create this stuff. I mean, I don't know where that came from. If you had parents that weren't around, or you must have had something's driving you, and your destiny wasn't all those bad things. Your destiny was to get out of those bad things and create what you're creating. And you're not done yet. You're young. I don't even know how old you are.
37.
Well, you don't have.
So I do. I don't know about that. So that's
I'm not
awesome.
like your average lady, so it's okay. I can
Yeah.
say
So you're just really starting, and you don't know your destination till way later in life, because you're going to help a lot of people. You're going to help yourself. I mean, you're going to have these stories to tell. And at the end of the day, you're evolving, and you're ever evolving. We all are. And you're looking up, you're looking at the positive. You want to create, you want to help. You're helping yourself and helping others. So this is really an amazing story.
Well,
yeah, but I guess what I would say is I'm sure, one, not easy, two, constant struggle, three, just by you sharing your story.
Amazing.
We know people will listen to this. And if you impact one person, your story has been immensely helpful to that one, even if it's just one. And I'm sure there'll be more.
Well, I think she's
and I'm
changed
sure
when
you're out talking to young kids that are impressionable about your story, again, it gives me goosebumps to talk about it, because there's not a lot of people like you out there that are willing, and that's could be part of your therapy, is sharing that story with these kids.
I have to hold myself accountable. If you don't hold yourself accountable, then you're not really fixing anything, you know?
And sometimes people will bottle up and don't want to talk about it. And I commend you for at least expressing that, because I think, again, this is going to get replayed over and over and over again, and people are going to hear, and they're going to have a friend and say, hey, you need to listen. You can do this, because I just heard a young lady on this podcast doing it. Like, here's how they broke the cycle.
Well, and it's all mindset too.
Yeah.
Like, mindset is everything, because I could sit here and sulk and be a horrible negative person, which is what I used to be before, like, I really started to find color in my life, and reasons to live and reasons to keep going and purpose and all of those things, which are all things I lacked because of how I was raised. And it's not necessarily like both of my parents were drug addicts, they chose drugs and alcohol and that lifestyle over me. And so I kind of just was in this dark place for a really long time. And so whenever going back to mindset, like, I'm in a different place now than what I was even just 4 years ago before I picked up a motorcycle. Like, because back then I was suffering with depression so bad. Like, I just constantly thought about just the thought of dying. It's so crazy how real those thoughts are. But I'm here to tell you that those are all lies that you tell yourself. So remember that they're lies, in every situation you're ever in, and your entire life is temporary, even the good things. So you have to just be present in that moment and know that it's going to pass. And so mindset, even on the days you don't want to get out of bed, find one reason. Even if it's just, you got to make your coffee, you got out of bed. I mean, that one reason, or you got to take your dog outside because your dog needs to go potty or whatever. That's one reason. You have to find one reason, and eventually that one reason will turn into two reasons. And then those 2 reasons will turn into 5 reasons. And before you know it, you don't even need a reason to get out of bed anymore. You just get up and you just keep going. And then you move to the next chapter. Because if you think about it, right, in life, we fail or feel like failures all the time. I don't mean to turn your podcast into a TED Talk, but
not at all.
It's great.
I mean, this is what it's all about.
So we spend so much time in this mindset that we're failures. And I do it all the time because I deal with imposter syndrome. And so that's why I'm so open with my story and what I'm, all of these things that are around me, because I have to hold myself accountable. Right. And so there's a shift in your mindset when you change that negative thought to a positive thought, and then the things around you start turning positive, like without even knowing it. Like, you know what I mean? When you live in the dark, things stay in the dark, but when you turn a light on, eventually you're going to walk through the hallway and you're going to have to turn that light on, and eventually you're going to go to another room and you're going to turn that light on, and then you're going to start seeing things in a different light, and things will just start happening for you. There's like so many times where I couldn't pay my electricity bill, and I could be very negative. Oh, boo-hoo me, I can't pay my electricity bill. Instead, we turned it into, we're camping. We're going to play camping for a week until mom gets paid, like that kind of thing. And
Yeah.
it's all about a shift in mindset. And when you feel like you're failing, which I felt like a failure at that point, right? All these different aspects of my life, I felt like, even when I left the fire department to pursue art full time, that should be a great career move. I should be very happy for myself, but I felt like a failure. So basically what I'm trying to say is so all these times that I thought I was failing in this place, it really led me here. And then that failure led me here. And then that failure led me here. So really, are they failures or just redirections into exactly what you're supposed to be doing? So failures aren't failures. They're just redirections. And I was just redirected here. I made a lot of wrong turns in the right places, a lot of right turns in the wrong places. And it kind of just led me here. But they're not failures. All those things I thought were failures for so long, and they're not. And I'm here because of that change in mindset.
That fate.
Well, I just thinking the same thing. I mean, the reality is there's a reason, whether you believe in the higher power or not, whatever, but there is fate that plays its role. And we've been very blessed to have fate on our side throughout opening this channel and having people like you on the channel and hearing stories and talking about this stuff openly. I saw some comments come across saying we need to talk about this stuff more often and more openly and not just bury it. And so, it draws us closer together as people. I can't wait to actually meet you in person, and not just because you're cool and you're a bitchin' welder and a firefighter and a mom and just an all-around kick-ass person.
Rad.
But I love your story, and I personally know how hard it has been for you. I don't know personally, but I kind of do because I know some folks. And so
and we have our bad days. We have our, even
for sure
now, like it's like, I know like people see my life on Instagram and they're like, oh man, her life is peaches and cream. Like it's a whatever. Yep. No, they don't know that yesterday I couldn't get out of bed. You know what I mean? They don't know that, all last week, that one kid asked me one question that took me back and triggered something. And then I just couldn't move. I just couldn't fucking get over it. You know what I mean? I just couldn't. And then finally, there's like that one thing that just happens and it's like, okay, everything's all right. And you just have to, like, it's all about sorting it out. You gotta heal yourself from this stuff. So therapy, talking to people, you should not feel in any way, shape or form like crazy, or we're all crazy. You know what I mean? I'm crazy. I mean, look at me, right? So like, you should not feel crazy or feel like you're a burden or any of those things. Reach out. And if there's not a single person that'll talk to you, fucking call me. I'll talk to you. I don't care. I'll talk to you in DMs. I talk to everybody. You know what I mean? Like, I don't really get much human interaction at home, so I will talk to you.
Well, for me, the thing that's great about seeing what you're doing in your life. I mean, I lived it. I have a brother that was 18 months younger than me. And when he was 50, he overdosed on drugs and didn't make it. Well, he couldn't get out of his own way. He loved surfing. He loved motorcycles. He loved racing motorcycles, but he just could never get past his demons until it was over. So when I see someone that can get past that and create this working energy and art and talking to people and being, you know, this cool thing, to me, it's a winning story, because most people don't do that.
Well, I talk about this a lot now. I couldn't for a while. And it's actually going to come out a movie, which is kind of cool, soon. So be on the lookout for it. But, 4 years ago, when I left the fire department, I felt like the world's biggest failure. Oh my God. I felt so terrible with my life, because I spent so much time going through school and the fire academy and medic school and like EMT school, and like I just dived right into, I thought that was going to be what made our lives better, because it had insurance, it had stability, it had all of those things. And I just jumped into it. And then I spent all this time just chasing this dream, time away from my kids, and like just art, everything. I just let it all go so I could chase this dream. And then I just left it to do this full time. And I could not, for some reason, let it go. I could not let it go. And I was in the shop. I was doing very well. Like, my career was very well. Everything was good. I had decent money coming in. The kids were happy. Everything was good, but I just could not let it go to save my life. Everybody thought I was just a happy-go-lucky, like, ball of sunshine, whatever, but I was just dying inside, and I just did not know why. And I made a conscious decision that my kids had left, and Chloe went on a little vacation with her friends. She wasn't going to be back for 2 weeks. My son went to his dad's for his summer vacation, and I made a conscious decision, like, this is it. I'm done. I don't want to be in here anymore. I don't want to be here anymore. I just don't want to be here anymore. And so I packed a bag. I set everything up so that way there wouldn't be a mess left behind. And I left and with my bag, and I went and just lived. I gave myself 2 weeks to just live, you know? I went to San Antonio. I got a hotel on the river. I got drunk on the river. I sang karaoke. Adele's Rolling in the Deep in some bar in San Antonio. I walked down to fucking Whataburger at 3 o'clock in the morning while there was like obviously some robbery was going on. No, like not a care in the world, because I just didn't care anymore. I like went down to Austin. I got probably 10 new tattoos. Like you name it. Anything I wanted to do, I was just doing it. And then I came home and it was time, and I set everything up. And then there was a knock at the door, and it like changed my whole thought process. It like literally deterred everything that I thought I had going, everything I thought I had figured out. It just changed all my thought and direction. So I answered the door. You know what happened? My son pulled the fire alarm at the college and then ran home, and they caught him on the camera running home. And for the last 2 weeks, the security from the college and this juvenile, like probation officer or whatever, juvenile officer, was trying to get a hold of me, but I wasn't home. And so they basically were waiting for me to get home, so that way we could work this out, whatever Cash did, you know? And so like I shifted, like my head just shifted, immediately went into mom mode, right? Like, okay, we got to figure out what's going on, fix this. Thank God the dean of the college and I are really good friends, and I've done some stuff with them. So he was able to work it off every Saturday with the maintenance crew for a month, and he learned his lesson. And mind you, he was only 10 at the time. So he was a kid, and I watched the security footage. It was actually kind of funny. Like, they were just all boys being boys, you know. He had meant no harm. But had he not pulled that and shifted my my whole thought process into like mom mode, then something tragic I wouldn't even be having this conversation with you today. But the thing is what I learned during those 2 weeks is I had spent my whole life, when you come from a world of trauma and hurt, and you deal with a lot of depression and anxiety, and like what these people had did, and those things that you carry, you don't know how to live life. Just live, not like every day, just get up, go through the motions, whatever. Like actually truly live and be present in the moment and be happy and understand happiness and allow yourself to be happy and enjoy things in life. I didn't know how to do that. And in that 2 weeks, I was teaching myself that and didn't even know I was teaching myself how to live. I was just doing all the things that I just always wanted to do because I just couldn't do them because I was constantly working or sad or whatever. And it just like, after that moment, I made a conscious decision that like I was never going to live like this ever again. I was never going to do this to myself ever again. I was going to start taking responsibility. I was going to start taking responsibility for my own healing, my own health, my own mental health. And in order to do that, I have to hold myself accountable for my own actions. And so that's why I give it to the world, because this is me holding myself accountable for being a human still, you know what I mean? And like people think that I'm not a human and I don't deal with these things, and I still deal with all these very real situations that come up. I go speak at these schools, that one kid asked that one question and it puts you right back in that place. And so I'm here to say, like, even me, all of us, we all in this together, man, like all of us, and every single situation is temporary. And if you're feeling like it, you feel like there's no hope and there's no end, go buy a fucking Harley, go buy a motorcycle. I promise you, you will not feel like that ever again.
Yeah. Right. Thank you for sharing that, because you had referenced, even if it's just a knock on the door earlier when we were talking, but you didn't get into you know, thank God there was a knock on the door.
Yeah. Oh my God.
You know what I mean?
It's just, and that goes to show you how very temporary it is. And had that not happened, I wouldn't have a show on Netflix. I wouldn't have any of the things that I have going on around me. I wouldn't be building a motorcycle. I wouldn't be talking to you guys. Like, this is a very this is like, it's very temporary, and we forget that it's very temporary. Hell, we're just a speck of dust on a rock floating around in the universe. Like, who cares? You can't pay your electricity bill. That's okay. I couldn't either. Let's just live on this rock together. You know, you want to be sad. Let's be sad together. We'll just give ourselves a day to be sad. And then we're going to get up tomorrow and we're just going to keep moving, because that's what we're supposed to do. Right. So
right.
Absolutely.
I got to do it.
What is the show on Netflix?
It's called Metal Shop Masters.
Okay. Yeah. Metal Shop Masters.
Yeah, I did it like a couple of years ago, like 2 years ago. 2020 we filmed it, but
you've done. How long were you a firefighter? You might have said it, and I didn't.
I only actually got to do it for like a couple of years because my career kind of took off, and it put me in this position to make that choice to, jump, and so I did. So I'm glad I did, but still.
Well, I can tell you we're in it an hour and 20 minutes, and it doesn't even feel like that. And I see some of the comments coming up here, and it's just, I know people that are watching and listening really appreciate you being open and honest about your story. We appreciate that. And if we didn't do this 2LaneLIVE thing, we wouldn't have this platform to have people hear the story. Even like I said earlier, even if it impacts one person, at least we've found and helped one person get through that through your story.
It's amazing, because even as simple as this, and it's just another person's good story, but it's not on that level. Like, we'll be at gas stations and a kid will walk up to us and say, I love your channel because of what you guys do. My dad and I are now riding. We both have motorcycles. Just that little bit. Maybe it changed the boy's life. I don't know. Somebody's life. But I can dig it.
It's a big deal. It's a big deal. Y'all hold a great responsibility with your platform and what you do and what you put out there. And so it's really cool that y'all are inspiring people to get out and ride, you know?
Yeah.
We need more people to ride. That's the thing. I think if everybody just owned a Harley, life would be fine. You know?
I agree with that.
I think they should own a Harley too for their stock price, but I don't even care if they own a Harley. I let them on a scooter and just get out and go.
Just 2 wheels, 3 wheels, 4 wheels.
Yeah.
Just
get that head in the wind.
Something. Yeah.
Right.
Doing something. Finding something that sets your soul on fire and just going for it, you know?
Right.
Well, we've got all the links and everything in the bio. Can you just walk through them real quick?
Yeah, so you can literally Google me and find me anywhere. It's just Rae Ripple. You can find all of my socials are just my name. I don't even know how that happened. I couldn't think of anything cool for a screen name. So it's just my name on everything.
So how come your just your name is such a cool name?
I don't know. It's my real name. I do get that question a lot. They're like, is that your real name? Like, yeah, it's my real name. It's actually Desiree. Desiree. Rae is short. So yeah.
So you're Rad Rae Ripple.
Rad
Triple
Rae
R.
Yes. Absolutely.
Excellent comment there, right?
Yeah.
And he just did the launch on the way to go, Idaho.
Psychophonetics.
Yeah. Sure. Hell yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool to hear people share their story. And, I was doing a little research today, getting the live set up and seeing you talk about your outlet through art. We've all got our own art, whether it's writing, reading, photography, telling stories, sharing stories of the road with people. For some people, it's hard to find that outlet, and to be able to find that, share it with people, and do all of that is just great.
Well, I have this theory. First, I talk a lot, so we could talk all day long, but I have this theory that like everybody, how like we have to learn how to crawl and walk and eat and drink and like do all the normal things. But I think there's one thing that we're all born with, and that's creativity in all different mediums. It doesn't really matter what kind of medium it is. We're all creatives in our own way. It's just something in life that brings it out of us. So I think that, everybody has it in them. You just got to find it, and once you find it, just set your whole world on fire and just take over everything. It's great.
Well, it's also, think about it. You've dealt with this for a long time, and 4 years ago wasn't so long ago.
No, not at all.
So you've had... And I wish you would write a book on this too, because you could do something around that.
It's coming.
Know what I mean?
I've got so actually last year I filmed a commercial for Northern Tool, and I met this incredible guy. His name is Michael, and his team. And he was like, "Man, Rae, I don't know what it is about you, but there's something about you. And I know that there's going to be a film somewhere in there." And like one day I just called him asking him about, contracts, because I was like, I'm obviously new to the entertainment industry too, as far as like doing television and commercials and like all of that kind of stuff. And so like this was whenever I was really kind of getting into it. And so I just wanted to talk to him about contracts. Like, hey, do you know any of this lingo? Like, can you help a girl out? And it just turned into this 4-hour conversation about life. And because, I'm a talker, I can get anybody to talk. And and he was like, you know what? We got to do something. And so they actually came out to my house at the beginning of this year and spent a few days here and just filmed what it's like on the inside. Like everybody sees me and like what I'm attached to, but not what life is really like behind closed doors. And so I feel like being open and like as open and honest as I am right now is as open and honest as I am in the film. And so basically you'll get to kind of see like what it really is like, to be.
There's peaks and valleys and I've just, again, I can't wait to watch it actually.
Yeah, I don't know when it's going to come out. I did just watch the rough draft. like the rough cut of it 2 days ago. And I can't tell you, I took the day off because, you know, your girl has to be sad sometimes, and it's perfectly acceptable to be sad. And so that's what I did today. I just took a good mental health day and just kind of absorbed what I saw. And I really, honestly, I can't wait for the world to see it, because everybody deserves to know that they're not alone, you know? And so yeah, there's stuff coming. There's stuff
So
coming.
you mean then we're part of your mental health day?
Yes.
Hell yeah.
Helped me smile today.
Yeah.
So
Well, I'll tell you what, we should figure out something and do something for a mental health awareness, and maybe do some sort of fundraiser together.
Yeah.
And donate to whatever cause.
Art, I like literally live and breathe this, you know.
Okay.
So like anything I can do to help you guys, I'm at your service.
Well, for us, let's help others.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what we try to help. We've got a patch wall behind us. We try to help as much as we can in the different branches of the service, whether it's rallies, donating goods, and trying to help raise money and awareness around it. So, but like I said when we began the show, it's not just, you know, our people that first responders or that have served the country. It's mental illness is a challenge across this country.
It really is.
And if we can figure out a way to help with that, we're all in. Galen's
son is for his rookie year of firefighter, and when you were saying what you were doing with the medics and the all that kind of stuff, he did all that, and now he's firefighter.
Oh, that's so cool. I loved it. I swear, every time I see an ambulance or a fire truck too, I'm like, oh, I miss it. I miss it. Why did I leave? I don't know. I loved it. The kids, I think were my favorite aspect of it, of course, because I love the kids. But you just meet so many incredible people on the ambulance, or, you know, in situations where, even when I was driving a tow truck too, like,
right.
Driving I worked crashes. I didn't do like repos or anything like that. And so just being around
the bounty hunter.
I know it's crazy. I was like I did the 18-wheelers too. So like I hauled a heavy haul 18-wheelers too. Like, could you imagine my little 5 foot, 110-pound self coming out of a bigger old Peterbilt? It got a lot of attention. Yeah, it was wild. That was probably, I think, of firefighting, driving a tow truck was probably my favorite job on the planet. Like, still to this day, if it wasn't a 24-hour a day, 7-day-a-week job, then I'd probably still be doing it.
Tow trucking.
Right.
Yeah, I love it.
You just like action. You like tools. You like noise.
I want to be in all of it. Like, you know, like I gotta be knee deep in everything. And I think some people, my homie if you watch the Netflix show, his name is Ivan. He has this great saying that some people like to collect stamps. He likes to collect skills, and I felt that. That's kind of me. I like to collect skills. You know.
I like it.
Well, the bummer is nowadays, people that have skills are kind of like a disappearing animal. You're not going to have people that know how to frame a house, put drywall up, do plumbing, do welding, electrical.
Yeah.
We're screwed.
I know.
We're not. We have houses.
Yeah. Yeah, we got to work on them too. We got to
do our own stuff.
Well, yeah. Well, we're older guys, so we know some of that stuff. I don't know.
I don't know. I go to welding competitions a lot. Like, I do a lot of the high school welding competitions. And there's a lot of kids out there that are like really like taking control of their craftsmanship and their artistry and like stuff. And I have noticed too a lot, I'm sure a lot of people wouldn't see this too, but like COVID, you know, even though it was like a really shitty time, it brought out a lot of creatives, you know what I mean? Like, because everybody lost their jobs. And so people were getting on social media and they were tapping into their talents and finding new hobbies and finding things that they love to do and turning them into a paycheck. Like, and like all these kids don't realize we live in such a good time. You could literally be and do anything you want to do and make money at it. Like, I'm 37, so I came from like the 90s, 2000s, and back then, of course, before MySpace, but back then, like the things didn't happen the way things happen now. Like, you can create one good thing and it just goes viral and then you just sell out. Like, there's this chick that like makes lampshades. Like I follow her and she does the craziest like Victorian lampshades and she just makes a living out of it now. It's just so cool to watch. Like, so we do have creatives out there. You just gotta dig into it.
Gotta channel it.
Right.
Yeah. There's a lot of creatives out there. It's pretty cool.
Well, what should we leave this on? Is there anything that you want to say that you haven't said? Like, Galen and Lance are really good looking guys.
Listen, I was going to say something, but I don't know if your wives are around.
Oh, they're cool. They like to hear it.
All right. We'll just talk about them. Let's talk about them. How hot they are. They're fine.
Yeah.
I saw that video. That's them that's on the back of the bikes with y'all, right? Y'all are nothing compared to those hotties. So nothing.
That's a good answer.
Yes.
Well, we sure appreciate you spending the time with us. What else you got? Anything else?
Well, we have a new friend. She's now family. She rides.
I'll take it.
We're going to do some cool stuff together. We're going to definitely see you at Born Free. So
yeah, definitely.
When
are y'all coming in? Are y'all coming in just for the show? Or are you going to come in a couple of days before, stay a couple of days after?
Well, we live an hour from there.
Oh,
so
okay.
We're,
Y'all will be there the whole time.
Yeah,
pretty much.
I'm the one that has to decide if I'm going to be there a few days before or a few days after.
Yeah.
That's why I keep asking people. I'm like, are you going to be there a couple days before? Because I kind of like want to come a couple days before or leave a couple days later so I can see some things,
Well, there's a few things you can do. I don't know exactly when the campground opens if you're camping. Or you could stay kind of somewhere like out by us and then ride in like Saturday and camp down there then, or stay down there closer to the event.
We could take you to Neptune's
But we
Net.
can show you some stuff out here if you want to come before or after even.
We could even film a video.
Don't threaten me with a good time.
Well, wait, we probably even have a bike you could jump on, but then I was thinking you drop bikes a lot.
Yeah,
right.
I do. So
you can ride
they
the
have
road
crash
king I've dropped 5
protection.
times.
But we'll be getting.
It's all about crash protection,
Yeah. Well, if we could get you onto some cool canyon roads and some cool iconic places here, like if you haven't been to the Rock Store, places like that.
I need to. Yes.
They don't sell.
We'll be getting back the 18th from a trip to Canada. We're doing the Glacier Park, Banff.
Oh my God, you're gonna love it. I wrote that. It's so much. It's great. You're gonna love it. Like there, I'll have to send you some pictures of this one stop off. I can't remember where it's at. I have to ask Russ where it is. But there's this one stop off that has this like crazy river that like runs through and like dropped all these rocks down in there, and there's like trees growing on the rocks.
Yeah,
we'll have to check that out.
Yes.
Well, we'll be seeing that, but we can get you here at the studio and you can see 2LaneLIVE, and then we can walk 100 feet away and you can see thrashing and all the stuff they're doing.
They may be gone.
But they might be gone. Yeah.
We may be moving into a new studio that same week, but let's stay in touch and see what works for you. There's places here to stay, whatever. We've got houses with rooms in them too, or whatever is available. But I
think I'm gonna fly in because I'm in Texas or whatever. I do have another event like right after that. I'm speaking for Harley for STEM students, like a bunch of STEM students, like not long after that. So I'll probably fly in, probably take a couple of days prior, and then just stay an extra day. Probably.
Let's keep connected and figure it out.
Yeah, for sure.
So
at a minimum, we'll see you at the show for sure.
Big time.
For show.
So before we tune off, for those listening on Spotify, Apple Music, all that stuff, or just tuning in later on YouTube, check out the video description for links to all our stuff. RaeRipple.com, Rae Ripple on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. Just check out the website. You'll figure out everything you need.
Books on there too.
But
and the book as well. And
remember that if you're watching this now and you liked it, you want someone to see it, as soon as we're done here, it's on YouTube and it's going to be there forever. So
yes, sir.
Watch away.
Everybody gets to hear everything I say forever.
Yes.
Well, we've had a lot of comments that have come up about you being an inspiration, and the world needs more people like you. And isn't it crazy that you've gone through what you've gone through, and yet listen to the people, because they respond to what you're talking about, and they know that it's been probably a hard time at times, but you've been able to conquer and live through, even though it can be a struggle. You're still doing it, and you're an inspiration to all these people out there, and you're an inspiration to us. Yeah, I mean, you're an inspiration in what you're doing in life and taking care of raising your kids, which is the biggest thing ever. And you rock.
You're awesome. I just needed y'all in my life today. I just needed y'all's good vibes and good energies. I needed all of that today. You have us in your life from now on. You call us, talk to us whenever. You're stuck with 2LaneLifers. I don't know if y'all want that. Oh, we can handle it. So we're gonna kick you out for 1 minute, but stay on because we want to talk to you after we close this. I'll be all right. Hang out for a second. Bye, guys. Thank you.
Later.
Well, that was rad. Rae Ripple.
Rae Ripple.
What a great time.
She ripples.
That was great. I love her already. She's awesome.
You don't often get guests like that.
No.
And
we've had great guests.
Absolutely.
100%.
But her being as open and honest with her story, and you said it really good at the end as well, raising the kids, and she's breaking the cycles and trying to, make a difference. And as early as 4 years ago, she was in a place, and so I didn't expect that part of it. And I'm super glad I'm glad she responded back to your message.
Yes. And she was very open, but you know what? She's not scared.
No, she's not afraid. No. So we appreciate that. We appreciate the time. Check out the drops. I want to thank everyone again for the support in the store. 2LaneLIVE.com. We've been just busy as hell the last few months, and thank you guys for helping support our cause as well.
And I'll say this. My hat is off to Rae Ripple anytime.
Well, with that,
we'll see you down the road.
Down that road.